Hello, this is Visor with another video game reflections. As you can see from the screen, today I'm going to be talking about Bastion. Bastion is a game that came out last year, but I missed the initial release, and I didn't really pay attention to the game until recently when it was part of a humble indie bundle. By the way, those bundles are amazing, and you should always watch out for them. Anyway, sure, I had seen some clips of the game, but those clips were always too short to really sell me on the game. However, once I played Bastion, I saw why it was such a unique and amazing experience. The great story, visuals, and audio all work together to really set the tone of the game, but what's really impressive is how smoothly Bastion meshes the gameplay with the storytelling. That's not to say the gameplay is weak, overall the gameplay is fairly unique, but it just isn't the main selling point. I also really like all the gameplay customization options. In many ways, Bastion and Portal are similar in how they tell the story. There are no cutscenes, no forced dialogue. Overall, the game just feels very smooth and organic. Nothing really breaks the immersion. Unfortunately, Bastion doesn't have a gameplay hook as strong as Portal. It just takes more than a short clip to show how well Bastion does what it does, and I'm just not talented enough to explain it with just words. So we'll just do a show and tell. I'm going to show you a longer clip and tell you a bunch of stuff about Bastion. Now you don't have to worry about me ruining any of the story for you. The clip is from one of the side levels where a bit of the backstory is revealed while you're fighting waves of enemies. If anything, I think it makes the main character seem more interesting, and hopefully make you want to see more of the whole story. Now, I will be commenting here and there, but for the most part, I'll try to stay out of the way. I really want you to get the full experience of Bastion, because maybe you're like me. Maybe you weren't sold on the game before, but maybe this will change your mind. I would really recommend watching this in HD. I'm going to be doing this as a 1080p. Usually I don't want to do 1080p videos because it takes up a lot more resources, but I think it's worth it for Bastion. Anyway, here we go.
Ever tell you how the kid got himself wrapped up in this mess to begin with?
Alright, so you might have noticed that the color's a little off. That's because this level is a dream sequence. Also, those 5 things that just popped up, they represent my difficulty modifiers. Basically, they give all the enemies bonus effects. Sure, there's basic stuff like take less damage, do more damage. But there are also other effects like blow up on death, become unhittable, regeneration, stuff like that.
Catches up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started.
Okay, I don't do particularly well here. Basically, I want to try a new weapon setup where I use some damage over time weapons and have a leech passive equipped. Don't worry, I'll explain passives later.
Fair to say he's led a hard life. Supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie. He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his.
So I'm going to change my weapon setup here. Normally you can't do that in the game except at special areas, but I want to show you as much of the game as possible. Plus, I'm switching to my favorite weapons, the spear and bow. Hopefully now I'll screw up less.
Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there. School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money. Thanks to folks like the kid, the walls kept Caelondia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it. Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too.
You might have noticed a bunch of words popping up during that fight. Earlier I was talking about passives, and those words represent certain passives triggering me. The way you get different passives in this game is by equipping different spirits. And by spirits, I mean alcohol. And by equip, I assume he drinks it. But since he served his country twice, I'm sure he's allowed to drink.
The city had nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either. So what'd the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years. In the history of Caelondia, nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls. Out there, kid learned to fend for himself, learn to build, learn to break. In time, the kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody.
I'm going to switch my weapons here again, just to keep things fresh. There's actually a lot of weapons in this game, and each weapon has a lot of customization options as well. You can really customize the combat to something you'll enjoy.
One night, on one of his expeditions, the ground beneath him shuddered, cracked, and split apart. He saw nothing where the world used to be. The Calamity happened just like that. All the kid had to work with was his hammer and the clothes on his back. Through twisted streets, he ran with nothing but the city crest and an old stranger's voice to guide him. finally arrived at Caelandia's vaunted safe haven. He and no one else.
You might have noticed in the bottom right corner there are 3 icons. 2 of them are weapons. The third one is a special ability. Why do I mention it now? Because I'm going to use one now.
But then, all they got was more thankless work from a man who ain't even asked his name. Sure, I may be the one who dreamt up the walls and the Bastion, but the kid made them real, not me. I'd like to say I'll never forget him. Or what he's doing, what he's done. I surely would. Watching over him, had to make do with nothing but a shield.
Alright, so that's a small taste of Bastion. And I do mean small, because that clip does not show all there is to the game. Overall, Bastion's greatest strength is how well it tells a story as a game. It doesn't try to be a movie, or book, or any other type of media. For example, it uses changes to the color palette and blur to great effect in certain areas. In some areas, it'll have background battle music that's really epic but not intrusive. On the other hand, there are areas where the music is very much in the forefront and you're supposed to notice and react to it. And it does all this without any immersion-breaking dialogue boxes, long cutscenes, and with a minimal use of menus. Now, throughout that video, you must have noticed that I was commenting a lot about customization in the gameplay. Now, without getting into much details, the main thing I want you to take away from all these customization options is that you'll always be able to find a playstyle or two that you really enjoy. So if you get a chance, I would definitely try out Bastion. The game's available on multiple platforms including Windows, Linux, Mac, Xbox Live Arcade, and Google Chrome. On Steam, you can get the game for about $15. If you spend another $10, you can also get the soundtrack. There's also a demo available, so try that out at least. Even if this does not seem like your normal type of game. You might just be pleasantly surprised. Now in the future, I probably won't do more videos in this format. There was just not a lot of reflections in this video. However, this was the only way I could think of to really sell the strong point of Bastion. Either way, I still need feedback, so leave a comment if you have any advice for me. I wouldn't mind likes or subs either though.